I'm Maria. You're watching Simply Maria. Let's keep life simple. Today is one of the Sundays, a day that I get to have a holiday and get to do some cooking as well as some house chores. Today we're going to cook chicken curry, Irish potatoes, fried rice, as well as some leftover chapati from the day before and some greens. I love Sundays because they're a bit chilled for me. You must be wondering why I am saying chicken. My family really loves chicken, and that is why most of the times I'm making chicken as a meal. We have in a pan our spring onions that I have fried till golden brown. I've added in a little bit of salt, some coriander powder, and then I've added in the leaves. These leaves are broccoli leaves. They are the leaves that grow on the sides of broccoli, and of late I really love their taste. So once I'm done frying them and putting the leaves in, I move the pan onto a lower flame so that it slow cooks. Then I start frying the chicken curry. Now for the chicken curry, I am going to use a non-stick pan. Why I use the non-stick pan is because we end up using less cooking oil, and the time for cooking is also reduced, especially for meals like chicken. So I put oil in the pan and put in the cumin seeds and put in the spring onions. I really love spring onions these days because of the fact that I have a lot of spring onions growing in my garden, so I utilize them a lot in everything that I cook, and it really reduces on me having to buy onions, and it is really tasting the food. So we have our garlic ginger paste that we are going to add to the spring onions when they have browned. It's really a nice feeling when you are able to make a nice home cooked meal for your family and you look at your family just licking their fingers after you've eaten. Isn't that a very wonderful feeling? As you can see, I have my masala container with spices in it. Then we have some of the ingredients here that we are going to add to the chicken. We have our garlic ginger paste, we have tomatoes, we have mint and coriander leaves. So I love to fry my chicken with a lot of garlic ginger paste. So when it is browned, we add in some garlic ginger paste, and we use about 2 tablespoons. I have been generous enough and put in 2 tablespoons of garlic ginger paste, and I'm going to mix that up to ensure that it mixes well with the spring onions, and then I leave it to brown a bit. As we wait for it to brown, I will take a commercial break and drink a little bit of water to hydrate as I continue to cook. So once I'm done drinking, I put the green part of the spring onions into the mixture, since it brings in a lot of flavor in the food, and I mix it. So when I mix it, I leave it for a short while, then I move to the rice. Let's get the rice measured up for the quantity that we are going to cook. I am going to use a measuring cup to measure out 2 cups of rice. The reason why I measure the rice is to get the exact amount of water to add to the rice. So when I'm done measuring the rice, I get to washing the rice. The best type of rice to use is Pakistani long grain rice when you're cooking your everyday meals. I like Pakistani long grain rice, and I love to wash my rice. The reason why I wash my rice is to remove out excess dirt in the rice, as well as to remove out some excess starch. It is a very good practice to keep washing your rice before cooking. It is cleaner and it is healthier. I feel that if you cook rice that is not washed, it usually tastes different compared to when you wash it and cook it. And besides, when you wash your rice and cook your rice, it cooks even faster. We're now done washing the rice and we're going to add some tomatoes to the mixture. When we add the tomatoes, we add in a little bit of salt to get the tomatoes a bit softer, and as the tomatoes continue to cook, let's do a bit of cleaning. I like a clean space, so when I'm done cooking or I'm in the process of cooking, I like to tidy up after myself. I will put away every container that I have used and I will try to clean the place. And me cleaning the place generally keeps my place clean and tidy, and how I love clean spaces. So I'm back to mixing the tomatoes in the mixture and waiting for them to soften more. I'll put a lid on the pan so that the tomatoes soften a bit faster and reduce the flame. And as they are softening, I will just check on the greens to see that they are cooked. I believe the greens are ready now, so we can also get them off. As that is being done, let me cut some vegetables and some chicken. But before I cut the chicken, I am going to get myself some gloves that I'm going to use to hold the chicken. So let's get to cutting the chicken. I like to cut chicken myself. Actually, no one cuts chicken in my house apart from me. So I normally cut big chunks of chicken. However, today I felt we needed to slice the chunks of chicken into a slightly smaller pieces. That is why you can see me cutting them into smaller pieces. Let's wash the chicken now. I normally wash my chicken about 2 or 3 times. The reason why I wash it 2 to 3 times is to remove out the excess blood. I do not like to cook with bloody sauce. That's why I wash the chicken about 2 to 3 times. And I am very comfortable with using my gloves, hand gloves in the kitchen. It really makes life simpler for me, and I don't need to again wash my hands under the tap with hand wash soap. It just makes everything simpler for me. I'm done washing the chicken. Let us look for another pan in which we can fry the rice. Remember, we are going to do fried rice, so I'll look for a pan that will also use a minimum amount of cooking oil. Let's move the chicken mixture to the side. It's time to make the rice. Now, growing up, I always saw my mom in the kitchen. She was a very, very busy kitchen wife or kitchen mother. She was always in the kitchen. Much as she worked, she always cooked for us, baked for us, and just simply looking at her doing all those things inspired me to also love to cook. Now let's first look for some spices that we're going to add to the chicken. Remember, I shared that I buy Indian spices from the supermarket. Well, I do buy a lot of spices in the supermarket and I keep them in that container you see right there. I have still not gotten an opportunity to have an organized cabinet for my spices. However, I'm sure that hopefully soon we will embark on that journey to look for a more organized or have a more organized storage space for my spices. So back to the rice. In a pan, I've added some cooking oil, added some cumin seeds, and put in some spring onions. Let's fry that till it is golden brown. And as we fry it till it's golden brown, we can have a look at what else is in the kitchen cooking and ensure that nothing burns. As we are waiting on that, let's add some masala into the pan that we are making the mixture for the chicken. Now, I love to use Indian spices a lot, and I feel my spices really spice the food up. And one key spice that I love to use is ground allspice. I make ground allspice by combining a variety of dry spices and blending them up to make a nice powder. That powder really, really, really makes your meats and chicken gravies very, very tasty and spiced. I also like to use a little bit of other spices like cayenne pepper or paprika, depending on what I'm cooking. But today I will be using paprika to make the sauce. This food is going to really be yummy. Growing up in two different cultures, I experienced two different sides of cooking as well as two different sides of meals. I always got to eat Indian meals as well as Ugandan meals. My dad, being a Muganda, exposed us to local meals like matoke, binyebwa, that is groundnuts. We would eat semutundu fish. My dad really loved and still loves semutundu fish. Semutundu fish is some kind of catfish, and it's really, really popular here in Uganda. I've tried making it at my place, I think, once, and I will really testify that it's not really easy to make catfish Ugandan style. But you never know, maybe in the future we'll get down to making that dish. So I have added chicken to the mixture. Let's get that mixed up very well so that the chicken mixes well with the spices. Now I'll add a little more spring onions, that's the green ones, to the rice mixture, and sprinkle a little bit of mint and coriander leaves on the chicken. Look at how lovely the chicken looks. Isn't that lovely? So let's just mix that up to ensure that the mint and the coriander leaves blend well and mix well with the chicken. Indian gravies are usually very spiced, as you can see. You can see that the tomatoes and the chicken are loaded with spices, but that makes it tasty. That's the part that makes it the tastiest. Now that we're done with the chicken, let me just do a little bit of cleaning and get back to the rice. Now to the rice, we are going to add the remaining spring onions and a little bit of kotimiri and mint, and we're going to mix that up. As we are mixing that up, we add in a few spices. Let's start with salt, then a little bit of coriander powder and a little bit of garam masala. Then we add our washed rice in that mixture and we mix it a bit. Now garam masala is a type of masala that should be really used wisely. If you use a lot of garam masala in the rice will taste very funny. So you just put in a pinch of garam masala and generous coriander powder. So let's get that rice mixed up. It's a very interesting thing that whenever I'm cooking, my children always come and peep to see what I'm cooking. They're always fascinated with what I'm making, and they're always wondering, what is mommy making today? So we have our rice there. We are mixing the rice with the spices. Let's add a little water to that, and we are going to put it on a high flame. In the beginning, I measured 2 cups of rice. That means we will be doing 2 cups of water and an additional half a cup of water to add to that. Most people measure the water based off double the amount of cups of rice you put. However, I prefer to always do the same amount of water for the same amount of cup measurement, meaning that if I'm cooking 2 cups of rice, that will be 2 cups of water and an additional half a cup of water. I will not consider 4 cups of water. No. Sometimes when you add in a lot of water, the rice gets all mushy and mashed. So I prefer to use the same measurement of rice as the same measurement of water. It's only in very rare cases where I will double the water. Now that we are done cooking, let's get the place cleaned. As usual, you know that I like a clean space, so let's clean up our mess. One thing that really keeps me busy as I cook in the kitchen is listening to music. Most times I'm usually listening to music that is spiritual music, as well as probably listening to podcasts. I actually love to listen to podcasts. And which kind of podcasts do I listen to? I listen to faith-based podcasts, and because of listening to these various podcasts, I've actually learned a lot of things in Christianity, in faith, and in spirituality. Let's get back to our rice. Now that we are done with the rice and it's come to a boil, we've moved it to a smaller flame and we have reduced the flame to a minimal flame so that the rice slow cooks. In the meantime, let us mix the chicken mixture and ensure that the mixture is getting cooked and ready. I just realized that the other space in my kitchen is still dirty, so let's go ahead and clean that space. When I look back at my life, I realize that I've really come from humble beginnings. When I look back at the size of the kitchen that I had a very, very small kitchen space. However, over the years, God has been faithful and He has indeed blessed me and my household with a wonderful home and a spacious kitchen. Actually, when I look back at all the things I ever wanted, I always wanted a very big kitchen, and I'm glad that God blessed me with that kitchen because I am able to do what I love best. Now that the food is getting ready, let's get to laundry. Earlier on, I had shared about how I do my laundry. Before my children were born, I used to do laundry myself using my hands. I used to wash clothes, and I remember at that point in time, I was actually 8 months pregnant when I would even wash clothes for my husband, for myself. But God indeed has been faithful, and over the years, I got an opportunity, obviously a blessing from God, and got my first washing machine. That washing machine was actually a godsend. I tell you, indeed, it was a godsend. And from that day, my life has never been the same again. You know, life is really interesting. When you reach a certain level, usually you want to always be better or do better. It's very rare that you go back and do worse than what you are at the moment. So I've always wanted to be better and do better at what I do and be the best at what I do. So with time, we had to get a bigger washing machine because the first washing machine was just a 6 kg washing machine. So I would end up doing laundry 5 to 6 times in a day. I mean, my kids really change clothes, and so do I. For example, I tend to change my bed sheets every 2 days. And because I change my bed sheets every 2 days, it becomes very hectic for me to just pile a bunch of clothes that are very dirty and then wash in a week, once or twice in a week. That is why I do my laundry daily. And as you can see, this laundry is just the laundry for one day. And I have created a system where I sort out the clothes and I give my children the clothes to go and put in their cupboards. And because I'm a very neat and tidy person, my children have learned to have their bedroom cupboards and their closet spaces very organized. I have taught them how to pile clothes in one neat pile, and I have encouraged them to keep being neat. In the beginning, it was a bit of a challenge for the children. However, with time, they have gotten used to the fact that they need to do their own closet space cleaning. So I keep on encouraging them, and I keep on checking on their closets or cupboards regularly to ensure that their clothes are neatly done. Now, as they are children, they will not do it to my perfection. though I do not show them that I am not happy with what they have done. So what I do is I usually wait for them to go to school or something of the sort, and then I go to their cupboard spaces and I try to organize their cupboards to my perfection. Now, because I do a lot of laundry on a daily, I actually do probably 2 to 3 rounds of clothes a day. On a good day, I'll do 2 rounds. On a bad day, I'll do probably 3 rounds. However, since the laundry is a lot, I do not iron everything. In the past, I used to iron all the clothes. However, the electricity bill started becoming very high, and I could not cope up with the electricity bills being so high. So what did I do? I started selecting the clothes that I needed to iron and the clothes that I did not need to iron. Now, the clothes that were really important to iron are bed sheets, towels, vests for the children as well as for my husband, handkerchiefs, face towels, sweaters, undergarments for the children, and probably their uniforms. The rest of the items I just fold and keep in the cupboard. Now, when we are going out, we always iron what we are going to wear and then we go out. We do not pre-iron and keep it in the cupboard. I realized that, for example, if I was to wear a t-shirt which was already ironed and folded, and if I was to put it on, it would have lines in it, then I would have to re-iron it again. So to avoid that, I just stopped ironing all clothes that we wear to go out, as well as all clothes that we wear at home. So whenever we are going to wear something, we just iron what we are going to wear and then we wear it. That way we actually do save on our electricity bill. I also separate the laundry. I wash whites separately from colored clothes. The reason why I separate the laundry is because of the bleach. I love white clothes, so I try to maintain all my whites very white, and in order to do so, I have to use bleach. And then also I am very particular with the uniforms for the children's. As you can see, I am actually measuring each sock and putting it together. I don't like one sock being long, one sock being short. No, I love to pair everything together so that the children find it simpler. And look, we have one sock that does not have another pair, so let's put those aside. Then I opted for open storage. What do I mean by open storage? My closets do not have shutters. I opted for open storage so that I am able to see how organized and neatly my clothes are piled. And I normally stack my pile of clothes specifically. For example, I will have a section for jeans, I will have a section for workout wear, I will have a section for home clothes that are either trousers and t-shirts. Then I'll have a separate stack for home clothes that are dresses and other different types of clothes. We're back to the rice. Look at how lovely the rice looks. The rice looks yellow because we added turmeric powder. That's one ingredient that I forgot to share with you. The turmeric powder, a pinch of it, makes the rice yellow. So we're back to organizing our clothes. And as I wait for my kids to take their clothes, I sometimes meditate and I give thanks to God for such a wonderful life He has given me. And I always thank Him for everything wonderful He's doing in my life and for His provision in this household. I would urge you also to give thanks to God wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whichever life you have, whichever environment you live in. Give thanks and praise to our God, Almighty Father, because through Him all things are possible. So we're back to our chicken curry, and it really looks nice and yummy. I'm already salivating. It really looks yummy. In another pan, let us add some cooking oil, some mustard seeds, and some cumin seeds. And let's wait for the oil to become hot. As it becomes hot, the seeds begin to pop slightly. The moment you hear them pop slightly, just put in a little bit of spring onions. That is the white part of the spring onions. Then let us fry this to turn brown. Let it slightly brown, and then when it has slightly browned, as you can see, we put it on a low flame to brown. And as it's browning, I'm back to my laundry. As you can see, I'm almost done with the laundry. You can see my whites are white and my laundry space area is now totally clear. I love clean spaces, as you can see. So as it is browning, let us cut some Irish potatoes into halves. We are going to fry Irish potato in a different way. We are going to use spring onions also for the Irish potato, and they will give the Irish potato a very nice flavor. So let us go ahead and cut the Irish potatoes into halves, and then when we are done cutting them into halves, we are going to wash the Irish potatoes. As we are getting ready to wash the Irish potatoes, we first add in the remaining spring onions, that is the green leafy part, and we mix them a bit. And now we will add in a little bit of spices to that. And as we mix the mixture for Irish potatoes, let's just go ahead and check on the chicken and see if the chicken is okay. It looks to be coming really good. So let us mix the mixture for the Irish potatoes, and then we are going to have to wash the Irish potatoes. Once we have washed the Irish potatoes, let's put in a little bit of salt, a little bit of turmeric powder, a little bit of coriander powder, and a pinch of garam masala. There is a way garam masala really makes your food really taste very nice. So once we are done with our Irish potatoes, let's put them in the mixture. And once we are done, we are going to mix them, and you're going to see how yummy they are going to look. So we mix them a bit, and once we are done mixing, we will put a cover to the Irish potatoes, and we are going to reduce the flame completely to the minimum flame so that they slow cook. So once we are done, we are going to mix them up one last time and then reduce the flame and leave them to slow cook. Keep in mind that I am not going to add even a drop of water. No, because I'm using a non-stick pan, the Irish potato is not going to stick on the pan. I'm just going to cover it and leave it to slow cook. And look at what we have here on the dining table. Our lunch is ready. Thank you for watching Simply Maria. Hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. And when you get an opportunity, please try out my recipes and you will enjoy your meals.